Hello, welcome to the United Man. My name is Shane. This is the Manchester United Haaland failure, unfortunately, and let's be honest, it is total rubbish. This is probably, if you like, it's not surprising. It's not surprising that this has happened. If I'm completely honest and brutally truthful, this is a staple of where we are as a club at the moment, and it's hard to say. If I'm honest, it's hard to say that, like, yeah, this is what we are now. We're not the big Manchester United, big bad Manchester United of old. We are, yeah, it's really tough to say. We're treading water at the moment because now I remember as the summer transfer window closed, 3 days before it closed, Ollie was saying, look, there's a few deals in the pipeline. We're looking to get a few deals done before the window closes. Now, as it got closer and closer to deadline, it became more and more apparent that we weren't going to sign anyone. So that being said, obviously now the situation is with Haaland. Listen, we were definitely interested in Haaland. We were definitely in for him, but ultimately, there's a few reasons why I believe we didn't actually manage to sign Haaland. One, I believe the resurgence of Martial coming into form. Rashford definitely coming into form. And obviously them looking like they're making a partnership. Partnership seems to be forming. And obviously the emergence of Mason Greenwood. That's the obvious one. He is, he's come to the fore. The problem is now, if we were to buy Haaland, so that's why I posed the question before, is if we were, is anyone happy that we didn't sign Haaland? Because I felt like if we signed him, and I said before, if we sign Haaland, potentially you're kicking Rashford out, Martial out of the team because Haaland's a number 9. He's not a forward that can play off either wing. He's a number 9. He's an out and out striker, out and out goal scorer. Now, 28 goals in 22 appearances is something you cannot laugh at, something that cannot be dismissed. So ultimately, time will tell whether we missed out or not. But kind of can't help but feel like this is one deal that we are going to miss out on. Because typically what happens is you'll get players come from wherever it is. Dortmund have such a good pipeline of bringing in youngsters or youth players, if you like, of quality and blood in them, and obviously them performing there. And ultimately what seems to happen is they'll either leave Dortmund and go to Bayern Munich, or they'll leave Dortmund and go to your Real Madrids or your Barcelona, so to speak. Players that play well for Dortmund generally go on to such great things in world football. So I'm just hoping this isn't one of them. I'm hoping we've not missed the trick here with Haaland. As I said, there was potential for it to upset the balance and the chemistry that is apparent and evident right now. So I'm not too beat up about us not getting him. That being said, as I mentioned before, it would have been interesting and it was very intriguing prospect to see him do well. Now, obviously, you can, he's the type of player that's just going to score goals wherever he goes. He Harden himself come out and said before that he felt like Dortmund was the right place for him. Now, one of the other reasons he didn't join us ultimately is because we couldn't guarantee him first team football, not first team, starting role in the team. Now, I know Dortmund's starting striker is Paco Alcacer. He's been doing all right for Dortmund. He's been doing well enough, but he strikers like Haaland are few and far between. In today's game, in today's era, he is very quick. He's very strong, technically gifted, and he's a natural finisher. The only thing I can say is the fact that we've not messed up the Martial and Rashford combination. Rashford obviously said after the game that he enjoys playing with Martial, and that's brilliant. That's what you want to see. You want to see partnerships formed in the team. You want to see chemistry formed. You want to see cohesion. All of those things contribute to good performances. So it's one of those where you can say, oh look, we've missed out on Haaland. Boo-hoo. Ultimately, it does seem like it's a transfer failed because Ollie was in for him. Ollie was, saying, look, he's my guy basically, and we didn't get him. For whatever the main reason being, there's lots of contributing factors, as I've just said, but ultimately we didn't get him. So let me know if you guys feel like we have missed out on him. Francis is nice, bro. Welcome, welcome. Raymond, good to see you, man. Ollie really wanted Haaland, but Woodward just did did us dirty like he always does, man. Yeah, I feel the same. Who cares if Haaland demands more? He's a proven striker, plus many clubs are racing to get him. Makes sense for him to demand. Yeah, no, it's right. If you know you're in demand, you can name your price. And obviously Raiola is his agent. He's going to do that, isn't he? So, yeah, it does make sense. Mr. J says, Mino said 12 clubs were interested. Rumour has it that Mino was a large cut transfer, should sell him on. Yeah, that's right. I think it's Mino Raiola and Alvinga Haaland, Erling Haaland's dad, will get a nice cut should Dortmund selling him on. And let's be honest, Dortmund have a big history of being a selling club. So, yeah, that is true. Also, Mino knows Dortmund will sell on, yeah. Kaching for, yeah, Mino Raiola, you're right. He's corrupt, Mr. J says. Yeah, listen, Raiola's clearly good at what he does because, listen, if you look at it from player stance, while all these major young players and major world players that are fully established going with Raiola at the moment, because we look at him as, you know, this bad guy, this devil, this corrupt guy, but supposedly all the best talented youngsters, Matthias de Ligt is going is with him. Like I say, you got Haaland with him as well, Pogba, Ibrahimovic, lots of established guys are all with Mino Raiola. So Raiola clearly is doing something to benefit all these players for them all to want to be under his on his books. So I'm in agreement. Listen, Raiola for me can go and do one basically, because he's done us dirty, as Raymond said, time and time again. So obviously the whole Pogba thing, he's clearly, stating that he wants Pogba to move on, or he has stated that he wants Pogba to move on. So yeah, obviously what's come about of that with Haaland going there to Dortmund is that there's whispers of that now, because Dortmund this summer, they went on a mad spending spree. I know they brought in Julian Brand from Bayer Leverkusen as well, who is a winger. And they've already got Marco Reus. They've already got Paco Alcacer, but then they've just brought in Haaland now. So they've Hazard, Eden Hazard's younger brother, he went there from Borussia Mönchengladbach as well this summer. So they stacked up this summer, and obviously they're stacking up again in January before the window's even open. The thing that gets me with United, listen, window opens. It's not open right now, but it will be shortly. Why are we not doing deals early? Why are we, because listen, all the money that Man United has got, all the financial assets, the people that they have in place, the scouts that they have dotted all around the world, why are we not getting deals done way, way, way before the transfer window opens? Listen, I don't know if that's not the case with certain other deals that we may have already done, but historically that's not how we roll. Because Ollie's already come out making a statement saying that we will only do business if it fits the club's ethos and the players right for the club. But then before, about 3 weeks ago, Ollie's saying, yep, we're definitely in for a couple of players for January. We need players for January. This is Ollie. This is Ollie saying these things. This isn't the paper talk. This is Ollie saying these things in his press conferences, in interviews. This is Ollie saying, yes, we're in for a couple of players. We definitely want at least one or two players. It'd be great if we can get three. Ollie's saying all these things. It's not coming out of, these things aren't made up. These things are Ollie saying. Now, Haaland signed with Dortmund. Ollie's now saying we'll only sign players if they fit the club's ethos and they're the right player. We're not going to be rushing into signings. Look, I agree with that ethos, but Ollie has a tendency to contradict himself quite a lot, and it's not good. It's not good at all. So yeah, Rachel saying Raiola wanted a 40 million release clause in his contract. That doesn't surprise me at all. And to be honest, yeah, I did read that something similar, saying look, Raiola was asking for silly clauses in contracts. So, and obviously Man United weren't playing ball, but I think the big deal why Haaland didn't go was mainly because he wasn't going to be guaranteed a starter in the team, in the starting 11, week in, week out. And now, obviously, Martial's already there. I thought the deal could be done if we were to buy him and loan him back to Salzburg. But obviously, he didn't want to do that. So that's why he's decided to ultimately go. Greenwood, Mason Greenwood was obviously another massive reason as to why we didn't force it through, I believe. And also Martial and Rashford being in great form. And as I said before, obviously sparking that chemistry now. So those are the reasons, the major reasons why I can foresee he decided to go to Dortmund, where he's going to be guaranteed. There's only Paco Alcacer in ahead of him at the moment. Guys, there's nine people in the stream at the moment. Much appreciated. Don't forget to hit that like button as well for me. Caleb said, we stink at getting deals done, but listening to the Haaland deal, I'm not overly upset with United missing out. Plus, it wasn't a position we desperately needed a youngster in. Completely agree with that, Caleb, and thanks for joining the stream as well. Ultimately, we've got players in that position. That's why I was saying before, I'm not sure about not getting a striker, but getting a striker, like Caleb just said, of that age. Because if we're bringing in someone that's young, and we've already got full of youngsters in those positions already, occupying those positions right now, and then we go and buy another young striker, something's gonna have to give. Rashford, for me, is the only person in that front three that's nailed on at the moment. Everyone else position for me is up for grabs, including Rashford. Mason Greenwood still coming through. He's not yet solidified that starting berth, but he's part of that makeup that who's going to be, or who is trying to establish themselves in that forward line now. For me, realistically, it's going to be Rashford popping up off that left, and it's going to be Greenwood operating in the number 9 or the right wing position. I don't see Mason Greenwood as a number 9 right now. His stature is too small in terms of being effective in that role. But listen, going forward, he could obviously clearly do a job there. Haaland clearly wants to come to United. Otherwise, he won't even talk to Ollie. Woodward didn't want to agree with the deal. Woodward, the clown, rejected him. Raymond, yeah, that was Raymond that said that. Raymond, I do agree in terms of Haaland wanted to come to Man United. I can't really put all this one on Woodward. What I do know is that, listen, there was an opportunity to get Haaland. There was. Ollie wanted him. We know that. There's obviously something in between as to why that's not happened. As I said, I don't know if buying Haaland would have been the best option purely because of his age. He's another young player. I'm not saying we don't need another a goal scorer even. But for me, you'd need someone of a different type like Haaland was, but needed to be much older. So we're not then forcing the issue with our youngsters. Because then at least if we're getting someone older in his late 20s, early 30s, then at least we can say, yeah, he's coming in for short term, whilst all these other guys, moulding around him. We do need an injection of experience though into the side. Let's be honest, we've got bags of youth, but very little experience, and that's why I feel that we're seeing so much inconsistency in the side as well. So we do need to bring some experience into the side as well. Football Fan Fever, boy Danny says, where's that gone? What probably was a good thing we didn't get Haaland. We don't want to stop Greenwood's development. Yeah, that's a good point. That's what I was just saying. It had potential to upset the chemistry, and one of those points is obviously affecting Greenwood's opportunities and then henceforth his development. Rachel said, let's not forget that Haaland is a Leeds fan. Listen, it's a valid point. I don't know if that would have stopped him coming to United, and I don't know how deep that allegiance goes. Obviously his old man played for Leeds, but yeah, I wouldn't have, well, like Remy said, he was interested in joining Man United. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even spoken to us at the time. So, it's all these anticlimactic deals not, being built up and are not happening. It gets old so quick. Let's be honest. How many deals did we have over the summer? The Dybala deal, the Bruno Fernandes deal, Koulibaly. Now, all these deals that these aren't just completely media driven. These are actually good players that that could improve the team. So let's be honest and say, look, these deals that we're clearly missing out on, something is amiss. Now, whether it's Woodward, I don't know. He clearly has an influence. He clearly has a final say. But I can't just solely put it down to Woodward. Did Ollie just say to Woodward, "This is my guy. This is who I want. Get him at all costs"? I don't know. I'd like to think so, but at the same time, I kind of feel like Ollie's in some ways a bit of a yes man. I can't really see him like how Mourinho would do. Is like, listen, this is my guy. Get him or I'm off, which is what Mourinho did. Because let's not forget Mourinho worked Maguire last summer as well. Caleb said Greenwood at as a false nine with Tony in front of him until I see otherwise. It sounds like a dream. Play something like 4-2-3-1. Front lines of Rash, Tony, Greenwood, and Daniel James. It's a good one. The only problem is defensively. Unless we've got two defensive stalwart central midfielders, which we don't have at the moment, that's a bit of a risky ploy because that's four very gifted, very talented attacking players, but that kind of leaves us open, especially if Pogba's then going to be occupying one of those two holding central midfielders, because ultimately Pogba's not the most defensively minded player. He can do a job from time to time, but like I said, his gifts and obviously how he benefits the team is more offensively than defensively as well. So yeah, ultimately Jadon Sancho, this has been brought up now as a possible deal, but Sancho coming to Man United is not going to happen unless we make the Champions League. Let's just put that straight out there, because it's not a January deal that can be done either, may I add. Sancho deal is something that, if it was to happen, would be something that happens in the summer months. And again, only if we qualify for the Champions League, which, in all honesty, is a very big if. So we'll have to kind of part that one for now, because I don't know if that's going to happen. Mr. J says, I don't think we're going to go for a striker now in Jan, but if we lose anyone, including Pogba, we better be replacing them this time. But yeah, and that's a good point, Mr. J there, saying, look, McTominay's already out injured, just as Pogba's making his way back from injury. But obviously Pogba didn't even train today. I think who was missing from training today? So Tunzebi, Ashley Young, McTominay, obviously, Pogba. Pogba was missing from training, as I said, today as well. I don't know. Maybe he's getting treatment. I don't know. Ollie said, he explained why he missed the Burnley game. But he's supposed to be coming back from injury. So yeah, fair enough, he's being on the bench, working him back in, giving him minutes, specified minutes per game. But yeah, just the fact that he's not even training doesn't bode well. Eric Bailly was back in training as well today, by the way. Obviously, cameras are permitted for 15 minutes to record what's going on in training, and obviously they'd seen Eric Bailly there today as well. So it's good to have Eric Bailly back, as I'm not certain Victor Lindelof is the designated partner for Harry Maguire long term. I'm not comfortable with that one at the moment. So yeah. Sky Werrison says, Sky Sports News reporting Man United interested in 20-year-old Portuguese midfielder from Benfica. Any credibility in this? That midfielder is Gedson Fernandes. Gedson Fernandes is a talented player. We were looking at him as a possibility in the summer. He's a talented prospect. However, he's not played for the last 7 games, Gedson Fernandes, purely because he's fallen out with the manager. So, if there was something to be done there, listen, I'm not saying he can't get fit quickly, but the guy's not played for the last 7 games. Very talented boy, I must say that. But at the same time, listen, we want to be buying players that, fair enough, that come in and improve our starting lineup. B, are going to be there for the long term. But also, C, we want people that's got experience, man. I cannot stress enough, we need experience within this lineup, because we keep buying all these youngsters. These inconsistencies that you're seeing from Manchester United is directly related to youth and inexperience, because once you've won something, like Rashford has, he was part of the Europa Cup winning side of Martial. You have an understanding of how to get there. You have an understanding of how to get from A to B or from A to Z. If you've never done it before, it's all new to you. So say, for example, you've won 3 on a bounce or 4 on a bounce. You don't know then how to keep that momentum going. Obviously, you've got coaching in place and whatnot, but you can draw on the experience if you've done it before. So that's why we need an injection of experience within the side. I said in the summer as well that we need a different option up top in terms of a different type of player. We didn't get that. So then when we're going into games that are stagnant, because we've got rid of Fellaini, because we've got rid of Lukaku, who were those different options up top, there's no plan B. And this is what I keep on saying. We need a plan B. We've got to have an ulterior way, an alternative way of scoring goals, or at least creating opportunities. So yeah, hopefully we do need to strengthen and bolster our central midfield options. I agree with that. But in terms of whether or not Gedson Fernandes is that guy, I don't know. I know we've looked at him as well when we was looking at João Felix. I know we did. We weren't just watching João Felix. We were also looking at Gedson Fernandes. Again, that was last season as well. Also, when we went over to watch Bruno Fernandes, we'd obviously be in between games. Porto, I know, was looking at Alex Telles. Benfica was looking at Gedson Fernandes, and obviously João Felix, Bruno Fernandes as well at Sporting. Whether or not we end up doing business in January, I do not know. I really do not know. Like I said, Ollie said 1 minute that, yeah, we're looking on doing a couple of deals in January at least. That'd be great. We need an injection of quality into the squad. And the next minute now, when Borussia Dortmund have signed Erling Haaland, he's now saying we're only going to do business if it's within the club's ethos and the player's right for the club. Again, I reiterate, I know I'm repeating myself. I agree with that. However, Ollie is going back on what he said. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're not now going to sign anyone? I hope not. I hope we are going to sign at least 2 players, because we need that injection. People like Christian Eriksen, I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's proven and he's quality and he wants a new challenge. I still think most players that are playing in England, or have an understanding of the Premier League, they still view Manchester United as a big team. Outside of Premier League and British football, I don't feel like we're viewed like that anymore. And the fact that Erling Haaland has chosen Borussia Dortmund over Manchester United kind of supports that. So yeah, it's a strange one. I'm not happy about it, because we the longer we're not in the Champions League, especially not in the Champions League, our fall from grace and our attractiveness as a club just decreases every single season that we're not competing, or when we're not in and around the top places or in the Champions League. Raymond says the board needs to stop acting like United are still a top team in the league. Look at where we are now. We can't afford to pass out quality players just because of a few demands. No, that's a great point, Raymond. We can't listen. The old saying, beggars can't be choosers. Right now, we are beggars. We're not one of the choosers that can, pick and choose out of, I'll have that. We can't cherry pick. We're not in that position anymore. So we do, when there's quality. So let me put it to you this way. If Fergie had an opportunity to sign Haaland and he wanted Haaland, do you think there'd be any ifs, buts, or maybes? If Fergie wanted him, he'd be here. Obviously, part of that is the respect that Fergie holds and commands at the club, but still, it's not good enough. Guys, we've got 10 people in the stream. Much appreciated. Don't forget to drop a like. Rachel says, we're a big club only in name, and that's it at the moment. Yeah, that's a great point. Our deeds are not supporting the name that we have, or that we're synonymous with in world football. We're still a financial juggernaut, which is why, like Raymond said, we can't be affording to be, missing out on deals because of a few demands. Look at the Paulo Dybala deal. I know he wanted to stay at Juventus. I think every man and his dog knew that he wanted to stay at Juventus. However, he was willing to accept joining Manchester United. If we have to be mercenaries right now because of the situation we're in, so be it. Excuse me. If we need to be mercenaries right now because we are beggars, we're not choosers, then so what? We cannot afford to be missing out on these these aren't just Mickey Mouse players. These are world-class players like Dybala, like Koulibaly, like Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, not forgetting, he's now a European Championship winner with Portugal, playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo, who's at Juventus, João Felix, who's at Atletico Madrid. You know, all these great players. For me, now, I'd be doing my utmost to sign Ruben Neves from Wolves. Plays superbly against us every single time we play against him. But I know it's not a deal that is going to be very likely in January. That's more of a summer deal. However, he's got this fantastic relationship with João Moutinho, and they're doing their damnness to try and overtake us as a club. And they're not far off. Let's be honest, Wolves are not far off, as a team, not as a club per se, but as a team being better than us. Let's be honest. So, yeah, that'd be my preference, because James Maddison, he's with Leicester. They're sitting pretty in second place at the moment. He's not going to leave Leicester. Players like that, they're not going to leave, where they're sitting on a perch at the moment to come to inconsistent Manchester United. That's just not going to happen. Before we move on, just have a look at the comments. Rach says, no, it's gone through that already. Mike says, I really hope this young team grows into a title-winning team. 6 years already without a title. I think, where's that gone? I think with the solid, mature signings, we can be a force. Yep, totally agree about Neves. Neves is very experienced and he's only 23. He's very experienced in terms of English football, which is crucial. Very experienced in the Premier League as well. So for me, that's the reason why he'd be one of my preferential players. Whether that's going to happen, I very much doubt it, especially in January. But for me, that's a deal we could get done in the summer. Moving on, I know I just touched on Christian Eriksen. Let me know what you think about Christian Eriksen being an option. Obviously, he's free to sign a pre-contract agreement with any teams in and around Europe. But obviously, we could sign him in January. Again, that's a deal for me that we should go and get done. Now, he's an upgrade on any midfielder that we have other than Pogba. But we have to be signing players now as if we know Pogba's going in the summer. Because if we wait till the summer and we wait till we've got that 120, 130 million in the bank, every man and his dog is obviously going to know that we've just got 120 mil, 130 mil for Pogba. And instead of paying, 50 mil, they're going to be demanding 80 mil because they know we've got the capital. So for me, let's go and buy players now with the belief that Pogba's going to go. Spend the Pogba money now, or at least before he's gone, before we get the money, because I say if we sell Pogba, every man and his dog is going to put a premium on any player that we're trying to get off him. I would too. So we've got to be smart, and I really can't believe that I'm saying this now, because I'm only saying this now because I would have thought to myself, nah, they're not that stupid. Surely they'd know that. But the very point that they haven't acted in that way in the years since David Gill and Fergie's left the club suggests that I've got every reason to be worried. And this is me, little old me who doesn't know anything about managing a club or running a club. But it's obvious to see, let's go and spend that money now. Let's assume that Pogba's definitely going to leave, and let's go and buy that money. If he doesn't, and he decides to, really knit into the Man United whole rebuild, then brilliant. But let's also go, like Pogba leaving, for example. Ollie, not so much Ollie, but Woodward definitely has to take responsibility of that, because we've not gone and signed all these players that we probably did promise to Pogba that we're going to go and buy. Obviously, Ollie's coming with his ethos. Now, Woodward is trying to supposedly support that ethos, but that's not what Pogba signed up for. He didn't sign up for a long-term 10-year project. He signed up for a 2-3 year project. And that's what Mino Raiola was saying. He was saying, well, Pogba was, he needs help. He needs to have these players around him so he can be successful. There needs to be a system in place so he can be successful. I'm not for any one player being bigger than Manchester United. I'm not for that at all. However, Pogba was bought with a purpose in mind. He wasn't bought for mid-table mediocrity. He wasn't bought for that. He was bought for challenging and competing. That's the type of player he is. You see what he's done at Juventus. You've seen what he's done for France. I know he's been inconsistent. I know he's a moody bugger, but I can understand his frustration because he doesn't have the support. It's like if you go into a managerial position in your job and you're like, right, you need to go here and you need to build us an empire. You need certain people, you need certain staff in place to be able to build that empire. Simple as that. Okay, let's go back to the comments. Caleb said, why doesn't anyone look at Ajax, Tadic and Ziyech ripe for the taking? Listen, Hakim Ziyech, I rate very, very highly. Again, that was another name linked with us in the summer. Why? Listen, you see with players like Hakim Ziyech, he's a left-footed wizard, and I completely agree with you, Caleb. But why is no one else going and buying these players? The similar question I asked about Bruno Fernandes. They've had such fantastic, couple of seasons in their respective leagues, Portugal and Dutch football, but then no one's going and buying these players. Why? It doesn't have to be just us. I'm just wondering as to why. And the season that these players have, but just no one seems to be buying them. Remy saying United want players that are cheap and less demanding. Sounds like players like Longstaff to me. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Which Longstaff though? Is that Matty Longstaff or Sean? Matty Longstaff who keeps scoring against us, or Sean Longstaff? Longstaff isn't even cheap, says Caleb. 50 million for a player who's been outshone by his younger brother. No thanks. Yeah, well, so you're going on about Matty Longstaff then, Caleb. Listen, I feel like we need to make a splash, man. We can't be going and getting these players of potential all the time. We need to get someone that's established. We need to be signing players that are going to come in and bring those levels up. Like when Pogba signed back for us and he played his first game again. His first game, you could just see that level of quality that he has above everyone else in our squad, not just our team, in our squad. You could just see it. And that's the type of players we need to be signing. Someone that's going to come into the starting lineup and be like, we're going to be like, wow, look at that piece of quality. You can see how much better he is than everyone else. You can see he's on Pogba's level. Imagine that. That's the type of players we need to be signing. So that's why for me, Gedson Fernandes, I know there's some truth in it in terms of that we've been scouting him. Obviously in terms of a deal, I know in terms of a deal that's been reported is that any deal that's going to be done, it'd be a loan deal with the potential of signing him for 34 million. I'm assuming in the summer. But again, that's a 20-year-old central midfielder who's up and coming. We need players that are really going to be walking straight into the first team and giving Ollie a massive problem in terms of, oh, bloody heck, I'm going to have to start him. Like Frankie de Jong, who's gone to Barcelona. He's gone in there and he's been part of that setup from since day dot. He's absolutely outstanding. It's just so frustrating. I'm really, really, really frustrated at this point in time. Why is my chair going down bit by bit? Let's have a look. Until we have money, we still have money from Herrera and Fellaini. Fellaini, yeah, we didn't get very much dough for that. Ender Herrera went on a free, so we still got money from obviously the Lukaku deal. I think the net spend over the summer was 30 million because of the sales that we made. Obviously, the wage structure with Sanchez leaving. Well, he's obviously on loan at the moment, but obviously the deal's going to be made permanent, you'd assume. Rachel says something dodgy going on with the Glazers. They don't want to spend money on the players we need. Now, this is where it's a good point, that is, but this is where I bring some responsibility on Ollie's shoulders, because Ollie's the one that's saying young players. I only want young players with potential and obviously ability, which I agree with if we have a degree of experience within the side already. And I'm talking about not just one or two squad players. I'm talking about one or two players in the starting lineup. Let's go and spend another 80 million on Koulibaly. Let's go and spend, whatever it is to bring in the likes of Toni Kroos, players like that, where they're going to come in and just be. Listen, everyone around us is doing it. Everyone, all the teams are in and around us are doing it. Spurs went and bought Ndombele that we was supposedly after as well. Man City went and bought Rodri from Atletico Madrid, who's a starter in their team as well. It just seems like if we've got all this money, all this dough, and all these resources in terms of scouting department and knowledge of players, and then it comes to a transfer window, and we're waiting till the final weeks to get deals done. Why are we not spending months working on these deals leading up to the transfer window, and then when the transfer window opens up, then a few days into it, bosher, we've got a player signed. Look what Dortmund's done. They've just gone and snapped Haaland up like that, and that's what they did in the summer. They went and bought Hummels. They went and got Matt Hummels back from Bayern Munich. They went and got Julian Brand, as I said before. They went and got not Kylian Hazard. I can't remember the Hazard younger brother. Yeah, so they've done, I think they bought like 5 players within the first 7 or 8 days of the transfer window opening. Bearing in mind, the rest of Europe's summer transfer window opened up some 2 weeks after ours. And it's just so annoying. So annoying. Yeah, so just wanted to also touch on basically Martial and Rashford. The fact that they've been on a tear recently, obviously. They've been on a tear. They've been causing every single team that we come up against problems. Rashford's goal, obviously, how that went in the other day, though, against Burnley, that was a bit suspect. Yeah, but it went in. That's all that counts. It's good to see. I'm glad that Rashford and Martial have built a partnership. I'm glad that they've obviously been keeping, I suppose, well, they've built their chemistry. They're working well. They know how each other's games work. I'm brilliant. That's fantastic. I'm happy with that. But, what happens when one of them goes off form? We saw what happened when Martial got injured and he wasn't in the squad. We were dire. We just looked desperate for goals. Obviously, Pogba being injured, so there's no goals coming from midfield. There's no goals coming from our forwards. We haven't started scoring goals from our corners yet, with Harry Maguire being there. When we bought Harry Maguire, I thought, yes, that's at least 5 goals a season from corners or free kicks with his heading ability. It's not been the case as of yet, but I know he's still, he's finding his feet. What do you guys feel about Rashford and Martial? Do you feel like they've, hit a purple patch? You think that they're going to kick on? I know at the beginning of the season, I was doubting that Rashford would get, 15 goals, let alone, 15, 20, 25, 30. I remember doubting that he's that kind of guy. But listen, I'm grateful. I'm glad that he's proved me wrong. So long may that continue. At the minute, he's on tear for 30 goals this season, which is brilliant. Martial's on a tear for 20 goals, which he's never got to. So again, between them, that's like 50 goals between 2 players. If Pogba can get back to form and get 10 goals between now and the end of the season, brilliant. In all competitions, that's 60 goals. If we can get Greenwood chipping in with another 5 goals this season, that's brilliant, fantastic. But that's what we need. We need goals coming from different areas and different players. So yeah, fantastic. What do you guys reckon? How do you think we're going to do against Arsenal? I should say as well, because that's going to be an interesting one. It looks like Arteta's got an what's his name, Mesut Ozil playing a tune as well. Remy's saying the board promises Ollie to back him with players that he wants. Ollie clearly went through that one already. Caleb saying, I think Germany has some players that could really improve our squad. We just need to go out and get them 80 million spend it. Yeah, I agree. Like you said, beggars can't be choosers. And Kelly also saying they are both young players playing in an inconsistent team. They have impressive stats for how poorly we've played. Do apologise, my reading skills obviously aren't the greatest there. But no, Kai Havertz for me is one within the German setup. Timo Werner, who was speaking to Rachel about earlier, that's another one. Yeah, there are German players, I agree with you there, Caleb, that could make an impact on our squad. First team even, not just our squad. Will we go and get him? Kai Havertz, he's going to end up at Bayern Munich, I reckon. Probably in January at this rate. I have no faith in our money men, so-called money men, getting deals done, because we've just been so poor. And as I said, if we need to be mercenaries and pay big money for world-class talent, not declining talent like Sanchez was, let's go and play. Dybala's 25. You know, look what he's doing for Juventus this season. Whilst Ronaldo is quiet, he's quiet in Cristiano Ronaldo, the great Cristiano Ronaldo. I know he's in his 34th year, but still, soon to be 35. I just think, look, I've got zero confidence in the Glazers and Woodward getting deals done now. You know, we've got Eriksen, who can go and get. So for me, if we want Eriksen, if we are in for Eriksen, we should already have a deal done. So then the first couple of days of transfer window opening, we announced the signing of Eriksen. Likewise, you know, if we're in for the likes of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Lautaro Martinez, who's at Inter Milan tearing it up, another young, up-and-coming Argentinian striker who's killing it. All these players, if we're in for these players, Gedson Fernandes, even if we're in for them, it makes no sense to start deals, you know, 3 or 4 days before the window opens. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it just seems like we're not doing anything until the transfer window's open. Then we're having to wait to the final days, trying to squeeze deals through and then not getting them done. And then wondering why we're not getting any players in. I don't know. But anyway, much appreciated for you joining me, guys. Listen, I know I've been ranting on about the same thing for ages, but it's just crap. It's just, you know, it's a load of rubbish, the fact that we cannot get these deals done. If we're in for these players, get them done. Pay the money, get them done. We've got the money, so pay the money, get it done. Why we're procrastinating and losing out on deals, I do not know. But yeah, I've had enough of it. It's done my head in, so yeah. But yeah, appreciate you joining me, guys. I shall be doing another stream. When will I be doing another stream? On Monday, so I'll try and do one tomorrow. And a pre-recorded video as well. I'll be dropping as well in the next couple of days. Much appreciated for you joining me, guys. I shall see you probably tomorrow. But yeah, join me on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.